Hello, everybody. When I said that I wanted Bethesda's name in the news, I didn't really mean what I thought was going to happen. Now, if you haven't heard of the news already, Bethesda is starting to deny reviewers, review codes for games. So, for example, let's say Fallout 5 is coming out. It's fall 2063. Some insane number like that, right? And I'm a reviewing channel, and I review games for a living. I will not get a review code until the first day of launch, or maybe even the day before launch if I'm lucky. Now, there are ups and downs to this. The positives are that everyone gets to play the game at the same time, and this is fair. Some people, somewhat myself, would hold the belief that just because you are a special review guy doesn't mean you should get to play the game early, and that's kind of close-minded, to be honest, because that their job is reviewing. That's what they do for a living, so why shouldn't they get the games early? This really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to deny reviewers games because, if your game is good, you shouldn't worry. There should be no need at all to worry about your game. And this honestly does frighten me a little bit because a lot of people know Bethesda is my favorite company. And for their future games, it worries me a little bit that they would be so shy to give out review copies. I mean, review copies mean one thing. Launch day, you have scores for the game, which is very good because then it says, hey, should I buy this game? Should I not? Should I rent it? Should I try it for myself? Things like that. It lets you know if the game is worth it. That's a good thing. And if your game is good, you should not even have to worry about that. You should be excited to hand out review copies. You should be excited to see what the public thinks of your game. Now, some people want to be fearful of that when they hand out the thing they've been working on for years and, give it to the public so they can criticize and pull every little bit of love they've put out of it into the review, which is, some reviewers are way too harsh, but this is really no excuse. I think that Bethesda should definitely not be doing this. For one, I think this is a dumb choice. Originally when I heard this, I thought, maybe Bethesda will justify it. And, when they said that, I thought, that's not a bad excuse, really. I mean, I would do the same. I think everyone should be able to play the game at the same time. I think reviewers should be able to play the game, and I think anyone else who wants to play the game should play it. The other point that they brought up is, if I get the game 2 weeks before it comes out, I'm not getting the day one patch. A lot of games have day one patches. Things that add or take away things from the game, fix bugs, stuff like that. So the copy you're reviewing 2 weeks before the game is out may not be the same copy of the game that comes out, 2 weeks later. And that's a fair point. That's probably the best argument they would have for that. It makes sense. It makes sense to not want them to play the unfinished version of the game. But then that leads me to the point where I should say, finish your game before it launches. For one example, Fallout New Vegas. Unfinished game, wasn't really their fault. The game came out broken, needed a day one patch, along with other things like that. I think that your game should be ready to launch. So I think at least a month in advance, maybe, your game should be pretty much done. There shouldn't be any content that needs to be added or subtracted. Bugs, I can completely understand that, but even then you should be stomping bugs out. You should have a couple of months to stomp out bugs. Look at Nintendo, they do it just fine, and all their games turn out pretty well, and not bug infested at all, to be honest. I haven't played a single Nintendo game with any bugs, because they take lots of pride in stomping out bugs, and I can't blame them for that. It's really smart. So the whole excuse of, well, we want everyone to play the same version of the game doesn't really line up that well either, because, well, the game should be the same. I understand there are difficulties and you have to meet deadlines, but Bethesda Game Studios, for example, they're under Bethesda. They're not going to have a whole lot of trouble with time. Fallout 4 came out, for example, when it was ready to come out. There was no deadline they had to meet. They announced it when they were ready. The game came out 6 months after it launched, or it was announced, sorry. And that's the way it should be. I don't know why they would just come out saying this now. This makes me worried because I don't know if this is just applying for now or if it'll apply to games like Dishonored 2. I don't know if review codes are going out for Dishonored 2. Me, myself, I'm going to pick up the game. I'm going to get it on the launch, and I'm going to be playing it. I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it, I sure hope. But I do want to see reviews. Personally, since I'm getting the game, I don't want to see reviews day one. But I can understand why someone who might be skeptical would want to see them to make the decision. So, in closing, I have to say, this was a mistake. This was a mistake on Bethesda's part. I think they should have just gone on as normal, and we shouldn't have to deal with this problem. Now, Skyrim Special Edition has had review codes out, so it doesn't apply to that, for example. But I think that they hopefully will change their policy on this. I'm really hoping that they will, because this was a mistake, and, you know, I love Bethesda. I really do. But in the end, they are a corporation, and in the end, the job of a corporation or a business is to make money. And that's as simple as it's ever going to get. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave your opinions in the comments below. Tell me what you think. Should Bethesda be doing what they're doing right now, or should they go back to their old ways? And yeah, guys, I'll see you in the next one.